Okay. Hi, Cancer. Welcome to this month's extended reading. Yes, it's true. I am doing a extended reading this month for all the 12 signs. It's been a long time since I've been able to actually do it. I've been doing 10-minute readings, general readings, for the past year and a half. And I've really started to want to reconnect and give you guys a little bit more in-depth readings. So, for you Cancers, an announcement, really quickly. I'm sorry I have a little bit of an allergy response because all of the flowers are starting to bloom where I am. So you may hear a little bit of stuffiness in my voice today, so I apologize for that. But an announcement. I would like to thank all the Cancers who told me that my video was not surfacing in the US. Actually, it probably was an algorithm problem or something. But a lot of my deploy heads, the people who follow the channel, were saying that, hey, I haven't seen your channel in 6 months in the US. And so I just want to give you some news on that and thank those Cancers who let me know that actually, I think what it had to do with was YouTube in Europe, where I live, and YouTube in the US, where most of my market is. There was some, I guess, mix-up or complications or change in regulations. I don't know. And I was caught up in that. So it's okay. I would like to start this intro by introducing and saying hello to all my new American friends. Hi, guys. Welcome. You guys are new. And no, I'm not so new on this platform, actually. I've been around for a bit. It's just what I said before. Okay? So thank you to those Cancers who sent emails to me and said, hey, T, we haven't seen your channel in 6 months. I'm like, oh, okay. So good thing is YouTube said that they are fixing it, or it has been fixed. If they discovered the problem or something. So thank you, YouTube, as well. Okay, so let's get to it. I have something very exciting I'm doing for you. I'm going all the way back in the day and doing a past, present, and future reading for you, Cancer. I do want to let you know that, this is going to be an in-depth reading, so it's going to be longer than my general readings. And I would like to say this, okay? Here's my intro. Welcome to Deploy Underground Tarot. I'm T, and you are welcome here. For you Deploy heads, thank you for liking and subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to share and click that notification button. Well, maybe if it works or if it doesn't work. To get everything that comes through on this channel. So thank you guys for supporting. Let's get into this, Cancer. While I was pre-shuffling the deck, I was looking at a few cards that were popping out. Something about accepting the support and understanding that there is something new coming in. Okay, so there's some energies that are already here. I would like to cleanse the cards and get into this reading for you, okay? So let's cleanse the cards. Ooh. Okay, so I brought the Big Mama out, the Messenger card deck. We'll get 3 of those. Okay. All right, we're back. I apologize. So it looks like my camera was going in and out, but I'd already gotten your lineup headed out, and my camera keeps cutting off. I'm not too sure why, but we'll continue. Well, so thus far, we got this Lover's card, the King of Cups, and the 6 of Pentacles, okay, Cancer? So, look, something's balancing out in your relationships, okay? Something is obviously balancing out in your relationships. Let's get the rest of the cards out. Thank you. Yeah, higher font, okay, very good. This looks good. It looks good. Let's see, higher font. What else do we have, Yaya? What else do we have? Thank you. Okay, you know what? Whatever you're waiting for to come through, it's actually going to, it feels like it might even be connected to you waiting for the right option, but that might not be the correct interaction here. You might want to you might want to look at what you emotionally feel about this situation first, because there is some form of transformation coming to you, okay? There is some form of transformation coming your way. What is it about? It's about that difficult. It is really, Cancer, about all the hard work you have put in with your family, with your friends, with your connections, with your business partner. All of these things, this work you have put in, is now starting to slowly, okay, lift off, okay? It's slowly start to lift off. I just want to take one more here so we can get a clear vision of the future. This is the past, present, and future, okay? Just so we get a clear idea of why. It seems like you're fighting for, yeah, look at that. The Tower, and why? One more. It seems like you were, yeah, because you're fighting for your happiness. Because you're ultimately looking at expansion. You're looking at actually everything that you thought would happen is happening. However, it may be materializing in a different form. Okay, from this relationship, it's really starting to teach you how to balance yourself. Okay, let's see what we have for the messenger cards here, and then we'll do the clarifiers. Ooh, ground yourself. Okay, some change. Ground yourself in the past. Serenity. Serenity in the present. Okay, serenity in the present. Very good. I'm going to take this one. And love. Love. This is relationship dream talk coming through. This is some relationship dream talk coming through, Cancer. It is. You literally are rediscovering a relationship. You're literally just rediscovering either it's a relationship with your partner, your friends, you know, anything that you have a collaboration. It could be with a Libra. Ooh, cool, cool. It could be with someone that you're balancing out something like previously from a maybe misunderstanding. It could be that, Cancer. But however, I think you're learning that there's a lot of things you didn't see. There's a lot of things in the unseen. Oh, look at that. Yeah. There's a lot of things in the unseen that made you step up. That made you work harder, actually, at what you're doing. Now, it could be you, or it could be reverse. It could be the other person, Cancer. The cool thing about this situation, Cancer, is actually that what it looks like is you're moving into some form of deeper love. Deeper love is coming for you, okay? Now, in order for this deeper love to have even been a part of the subject today, that means there was some kind of, there was some kind of traditional way of thinking that blocked the balancing out of two parties in this situation, okay? For those of you guys who were dealing with your partners, your husband, your wife, your business partner, your family, you know, this kind of relationship-based stuff, you actually had to kind of firmly ground yourself for this, I want to say, emotional discussion. But there was a nice, balancing, diplomatic conversation that was had, because we got that balance card at the bottom. We have the justice card, which is the card of Libra. So it was a diplomatic way of interacting, okay? Now, whatever this did, it's going to lead you into deeper love, into some kind of peace and serenity that maybe you didn't feel before, but now you feel, because the conversation was had, the experience happened, and that opened up a whole new world for you to understand where you belong. Because maybe that you didn't feel like you belong. You knew you had some important role to play in it. But whatever this was, you weren't 100% sure until after this situation happened. Now, look, Cancer, let's get into the reading, okay? The whole thing from the past is here. The present is here. And that love situation is in the future. Okay? Okay? That love situation is in the future. And actually, I feel like it's sun. It's like it's heat. It's actually almost like sitting on the beach and relaxing and enjoying the moment and actually connecting to what brought you to that space of peace and serenity. Now, in the past, let's get into the reading. It's coming up here very clear. Ground yourself is is crowning the past. Ground yourself. And there was something you really did. It may have adjusted some kind of old value, some kind of old traditional way of thinking, some kind of old traditional thing you like to do. Some kind of way, some way in which you felt controlled or you controlled others. The reason why I say that is, with the Rider-Waite, here we go. In the past, you got the Lover's card right here. You got the Hierophant, and you got that 9 of Cups. Now, I'm not saying that you're stubborn, okay? I'm not saying that you're stubborn, because Cancers are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life, besides Pisces, but they're deeper than Pisces. They're the boss. They're the boss. They're the cardinal energy of the water-based signs, right? So they're the boss, right? And I have to say that this situation took you into a space where I see you understanding your value, knowing you developed some sense around your value, but you did not necessarily know about your value within the relationship. There was some traditional role that you thought you had to play, maybe, okay? Whatever this relationship is, it could be in business, it could be in love, it could be in family, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you go take it to where you want if it's resonating with you. But this is a relationship in which you felt connected to. You felt that it was important to you, but there was a discussion that had to be had. That Hierophant is telling me, hey, we got to figure out how we're going to plan this moving forward. The Hierophant is the clergyman, okay, of the tarot. He's the one who is connected to the higher source. He's divine. If you take a look at the Hierophant card here, it's one of my favorite cards too. It's really beautiful. There's two people looking down at them. That could be your children, that could be your family, that could be your workers, your employees, looking up to you. And what made me think that this is some kind of, you're reshaping your value in a situation, is that this Lover's energy is telling me that relationship, in the middle of that, relationship is what you're actually moving forward to in order to accomplish that fulfillment. Now, you're not at fulfillment yet because it's the 9 of Cups. You have an understanding of what's going on, how it's going to work. And you do understand you have your boundaries as well, right? You got your boundaries. You're like, okay, that's too far. But you are willing to negotiate to get to that 10 of Cups. Now, clarifying the past, I have to admit, is that Justice card, which tells me that something significant came into balance in the past. After that grounding of your energy, something significant came into power in the past. Okay? There was possibly a conversation because you had to ground yourself. There was possibly an emotional delivery because you have that 9 of Cups in the Lover's card. Okay? There was a delivery from another external person or relationship, okay? But the beautiful thing about the past, you have a beautiful reading, by the way. You have a very, very beautiful reading. And if you are still in the muck of whatever this conversation is, know that once you have the conversation, it's going to be really peaceful. Things are going to come things are going to come to surface, okay? Things are going to come to surface for you. However, with that Justice card, come into, there we go. With that Justice card, I'm telling you, there's no one more powerful. Have you ever met a Libra before? Do you know any Libras? Libras are high functioning Libras are the most honest, caring, balanced while being unbalanced, devoted, loyal people. They are all about justice, right? And I think that this conversation needed to be really about some form of maltreatment, some form of bad treatment, some form of looking over on a person, or some form of, Libra's air sign, so some form of communication that just did not necessarily when you think of communication that doesn't work, people have a tendency, right, to actually think that it's one person, it's that person. But in reality, with this justice card, it's almost like two people realized that it was bad communication between the two. And that's in the past. That means you had that conversation, right? Excuse me. That's in the past. That means you had that conversation, right? But the beautiful thing, I don't know if you can see these cards here. Like, this is your present, and it looks really enticing. It looks like growth and development. Your past is all about how that situation happened, okay? It happened. You had the conversation. Yeah. I hope you didn't lose any sleep over that. Doesn't look like it. It looks like you were prepared for it. But also, it seems like it moved you into a higher functioning way of thinking, in which peace and serenity are at the center of what you're trying to accomplish with this next step in your life. All right? The reason why I say that is your present and your future they look really good. They look like someone who is developing and understanding and trying to understand the current situation, right? What's going on, why it happened, what happened, and how can we make it better, right? This is a good person, this Cancer. This is a good person. If you're resonating with it, you're a good person. You are a really good person. Now, look. In the present, you got serenity. Okay? Take a look at that card. It's quite beautiful, huh? Where does the light come from within you? Wherever that light comes from within you, make it shine brighter. Because you have to give yourself a pat on the back sometimes. I think Cancers forget to pat themselves on the back sometimes because they accomplish so much, but they don't stop accomplishing. They just keep. Cancer is also one of the richest signs. They're typical people to be very wealthy. Cancers, Scorpios as well, and Libras too. Libras are sometimes very, very wealthy. Capricorns as well. They are Cancers. You are also all about acknowledging what is emotionally true about a situation as well. In that aspect, you could be very much like the Libra, where you're like, this is actually just the truth of what happened. I said something wrong, you said something wrong, and boom. Okay, so once you got to that, you discover some new form of serenity. You discover it. And it looks like you discover it through something that came out of the blue. You were almost super looking back on it, happy that it happened. Because you finally got to release it. Yeah. You finally got to release what you've been actually feeling probably for a long time. Because you got this King of Cups, which is your higher grade energy. You got this Four of Cups, which is saying, there was something that was there, but you had no clue, actually. You had no clue. No clue. Take a look at the Four of Cups. You had no clue that it was there. It's almost like a repressed feeling, a repression of your feelings, a suppression of your feelings. And you had a feeling that was there, but it was so deep in your unconscious. It was so deep in your subconsciousness that you were unconscious about it until it came up. Until it came up, which means it came up, it came out in possibly what would be considered an immature way, okay? Because that's that's the Page of Swords. He's just learning how to talk. You know, he's not the Queen or King of Swords. He's just learning. Sometimes he has a tongue about him where you're just like, hey, you probably shouldn't have said that in a situation like that, right? You probably shouldn't have said that at that point, okay? But you had no clue. You had no clue, Cancer. Look, you had no clue that you were feeling that. So don't feel bad about it. It happened. It happened for a reason. The beautiful thing is that, you know, the daddy of you, of the water, came out of that. You actually learned to step up, to be more open with your emotions, if I'm correct here. More open. Because I think you noticed that this person or whoever it was actually cares about you and will understand when you slip up. You don't have to be perfect. That's another thing Cancers do sometimes. They think they have to be perfect all the time. They think they have to be perfect all the time. They're probably one of the most perfect out of all the signs, Cancers. Tell me one Cancer. Tell me one Cancer you didn't like. Okay? Think of one Cancer. Not like they were too emotional. That's a whole other different thing. But think of one Cancer that you met that you didn't like. I can't think of one. I've met probably hundreds of them. One Cancer that you didn't like. If you can figure that out, I'd be impressed. I would want to see their whole chart, okay? All right? But think about one Cancer. You guys are very, very, very honest people, okay? You can be a bit gossipers too, but that's a whole other different thing. That's like an emotional thing, you know? And it's usually to tell people to stop in your own inadvertent way of dealing with conflict, right? But here you're in that serenity. You're in that serenity. Now, I do want to let you know that it is being clarified by the 8 of Cups. Okay? It's something was unlifted, unseen. And still you hold this weight presently, in the present moment. But the 8 of Cups is calling for you to move away from that emotional prison. It's over. It's been dealt with. In the present moment, you shouldn't have to necessarily deal with those energies. I don't like seeing that in that present moment because you made a mistake, right? Or they made a mistake. They made a mistake. You made a mistake. The 8 of Cups is saying, okay, let's move on into what else is unseen. Let's unearth some more of these issues to make our lives together more harmonious and peaceful for the family, for the business, for the community, for the staff, right? And this story is very beautiful, Cancer, because it's like a person who is actively not afraid to better themselves. And to allow the mishaps of life that happens all the time with everyone, okay? Now, if this 8 of Cups is about you feeling like you're not worthy after whatever happened in the past, it's not true. Okay? It ain't true. You are beyond worthy, and whoever's in this situation recognizes that that was an imprint on your soul. Or you recognize that that was an imprint on their soul, whatever happened in the past, right? The Justice card has symbolized that in the past, it should be rested and left where it is, so that you are able to recognize and understand what? Your serenity. Now, serenity, okay, people think serenity is like peace and, and and being very quiet and silent and loving yourself with peace and nice, calm, no. Serenity is really about how you surrender. How you surrender to this situation. Believe me, hey, I'm a Libra. I know that just like every sign has their power, I know that I have the words that I can use to disarm a person. Okay? I have the words that I can use to uplift a person. Now, as a Cancer, this is new for you. So you don't have to feel bad about this situation because you're just learning how to speak in this situation. You're coming from emotion to communication. You're a water sign. Water is reflected in cups. These cups, these are water signs, okay? These cups, these are water signs. But you are just learning how to interact with air signs. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy. It could be that you're dealing with someone who has a lot of air in their chart. But beyond that, you are learning how to, you know what I'm saying? You're learning how to speak. And you can't be hard on yourself, Cancer. Please don't do it. Even though you guys are infamous for once you go in your shell, you go in your shell, right? Once you go in your shell, once you go in your crabby shell, you start to reflect on how you could have made that situation better, how I could have done it, boom, right? But your opportunity here is to find serenity, surrender into the humanness. Oh, man. Oh, I can't. The humanness of living. That is your development that I was talking about. Because where you're moving and where your future is going is so nice. It is so nice, Cancer. You are going to learn. You are going to love. You are going to not feel as beat up anymore. There's a cutting of that where material wealth comes into your life. Where joy comes into your life. More joy. As a way to balance whatever the heck happened here. As a way to balance it. You're going to feel it. And it's all coming through what? Yeah. It's all coming through in the future through the channel of love. Now, if this is about a relationship with yourself, if this whole reading you're like, it's not about somebody else, it's really resonating that it's about myself, I want to tell you that by restoring that balance within yourself, you will discover a new level of emotional strength. Yeah, yes you will, Cancer. You will discover a new level of emotional strength. Look, I'm in my 40s now, right? I'm in my 40s. And I remember my 20s. I wasn't very nice to myself in my 20s, right? I come from a family of my brothers are very, very attractive men, beautiful men, right? And I always had this stigma about myself. I always had this like emotional thing about who I was and how, yeah. And the truth is that if I didn't do any of that, there would be an opening to discover what it truly is that love and that surrender that happens, okay? I'm not trying to get preachy here. I'm just reading the cards and sharing a little personal anecdote. But by surrendering to those thoughts, those negative thoughts, those thoughts that sabotage you constantly, Cancer, my ascendant is Cancer, you're actually just running away from a gift. Yeah? Excuse me. You're actually running away from an experience in which you discover that you are not that. I love this. The future looks so good. Future looks so good for you, Cancer. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. Hold on tight if you're still going through it, Cancer. I'm telling you, it will be okay. Have that conversation. It will lift you. It's almost like it will sprint you into the future, into this balance, into this emotional clarity. One in which you recognize what you've been through. Okay? You recognize what you've been through. The Nine of Wands. But that new emotional stability. That Two of Cups. The Ace of Cups. That new emotional beginning. This could also be a new baby, huh? My new baby card. That new emotional stability moves you into a place in which balance is restored. All of that came from a conversation. You know, just take a second and just go, To be honest, Cancer, it wasn't really as big as you thought it was. Right? It wasn't really as big as you thought it was. Because I took 2 cards to clarify this thing. And, you know, the Sun card and the Tower card together for me just says it wasn't as big as you thought it was. It just had to be clarified. It had to be cut. It had to be restored, like moved out of the way completely, so that you were able to acknowledge the material wealth, the joy, the happiness, the moments with your employees, for example, if it's a relationship, the moment with your lover and your children and your family. Those are material wealth, happiness situations. Emotionally, wealth, happiness situations. Joy. But there's something that had to end. There was something that had to just be towered, thrown out. What I love about the Tower card, I'm going to bring it a little bit closer. If you take a look at the Tower card, there's 2 people falling. They're jumping out of this tower. Literally. Jumping out. One is like just jumping out with just pure hope. Okay? The other is flailing out like as if they don't know what else to do. Who were you in this situation? Who were you in this situation? Huh? Ask yourself that, and it will give you a direct shot into that love that will make you understand the deepness of this situation and why you feel so much love for this person, or that person feels so much love for you now, because it brought what? It brought what? La force. Okay? It brought strength. You thought it was going to cut out your situation, or they thought it was going to cut out their situation. No, it brought it stronger. And you got to be careful, because a lot of this recent stuff, if you're watching this in 2025 in May, a lot of this relationship stuff that happened over the past 2 months really had to do with astrology and how Venus went retrograde. And when Venus goes retrograde, I mean, you may as well look. When I told my friends, it's okay. I'm going to sit back and write in the house. You know, I told my coworkers, I'm in and out. I'm not trying to even discuss problems with relationships when Venus goes retrograde. It just doesn't make sense, because it's just making everyone review their friendships, their relationships with everything. And over the past 2 months, to tell you the truth, I'm telling you, Cancer, you reevaluated this situation. But the beautiful thing is, you couldn't avoid it. You could not avoid what was coming to you. You could have tried to do what I did and just, retreat into your house and not talk to anybody. Or you couldn't. It was like a train coming to you. You were like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to get on this train. And the good thing is, it brought you into a new level of emotional strength, a new level of emotional understanding, a new level of your strength and how you rebalance situations. Now, Cancer, this to me is so mature, is so loving, and is so indicative of Cancerian energy and the power of Cancer. So that's what I got for you this month. It's always a pleasure doing a long, extended reading for you guys. I love it because you get into the story. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification button so you get all of the stuff that's coming through. And I will see you guys next month. Take care and bye-bye.